Hello, my dear friends. Today we're talking about your basic weekly plan. Now, I realize that some of you have been with me for a while and you've got that basic weekly plan down. But listen to this just in case something has ebbed and flowed to the point where maybe it's not quite as recognizable as it should be. If you are brand new, listen carefully, because this is part of what we do every week. I'll describe it in just a minute. If you are in here and you've been doing it for a while, but you're not quite sure, this is the video for you, just to refresh and make sure you're right on point. Okay, what is a basic weekly plan? Well, for those of you who don't know, that's something that we do every single day of the week. Each day has a different thing that we do as part of our homemaking for our home and or our family, and it recurs every single week. Those things are, number one, the weekly home blessing hour. That is a 1 hour process where we take 6 things out of our home, 6 processes in our home, and we do them in 1 hour to get our house looking spiffy. There's a great word for you. So it's stripping the bed, washing the sheets, and putting the sheets back on the bed. It is dusting the whole house. It is cleaning the glass in the whole house. It is emptying all the garbage cans in the whole house. It is either vacuuming or dust mopping the floors in the whole house. It is mopping the kitchen, and it is mopping the bathrooms. That is the weekly home blessing hour. How can you do that in an hour? Because it's not a deep cleaning, it's a blessing. A blessing. For those who are familiar with, I shouldn't even go there, but I will. I just like it. Christmas Vacation, the blessing. Okay, if you don't know, it's all right. Anyway, I apologize for that. But it is a blessing, and that means it's good for your home and your family, but it's nothing hard. It's a blessing. It is what Marla Silly, the original FlyLady, called hitting a lick at a snake. And that means you want the snake out of the yard. If you throw a stick at it, you're hitting a lick at the snake. You're not killing it. You're not getting full force on it. You're just kind of getting it out of here. And that's really what we're doing in our home. We're just kind of getting it out of here. So here's what we do. We just strip the bed. We wash the sheets. We let them we dry them, whether on the line or in your dryer. We leave the bed open all day so that it can air out. And then you put the sheets back on. Now, I don't know if that's Marla Silly's way of doing it. I don't remember when I was one of her fly ladies if that's the way we did it. But I always like that because it gives the bed a day to air out or time to air out, number one. And number two, you don't have to fold the dang sheets. They're hard to fold. Not impossible, and some of you may be experts at it, but why do that? It's a waste of time. Put them back on your bed. And not only that, I don't know about you, but my folded sheets never smell as good or feel as good as the one that just came out of the dryer, and I put them on fresh on the bed. So put them back on the bed after they're dry. So that's one. Now, that's a 10-minute job, because if you break it all up, it's about 10 minutes. It takes a minute or two to strip the bed, a minute or two to put them in the washer, a minute to put it in the dryer, a couple of minutes to take them out and put them on the bed. Probably less than 10 minutes. That is a 10-minute job. The second job is taking care of the dusting in the whole house, but you have to have a good tool. I recommend the FlyLady Feather Duster. I do. Not because I make any money off of it. I don't. I just know it's the best tool to get the job done in the least time and the best way. The FlyLady Duster is light and fluffy, and it hangs down from a stick. So here's a stick, and here's the duster on the end with the little FlyLady, the little feathers hanging down. They're little microscopic pieces on those feathers. And so when you dust on top of things, you don't have to move them, and those little fingers go in and get all the dust out. And it sticks in that FlyLady duster because it's a quality duster made with quality ostrich feathers. It's not a cheapo duster that's going to spread dust around. It'll hang on to the dust. So what I'm going to recommend is that you pick 5 of your most used rooms. I'll give you some examples. Master bedroom, maybe one of the kids' rooms or 2 of the kids' rooms, the living room, and the foyer. Those are 5 ideas. And you just you spend 2 minutes in each room giving it a little dust. You are not thoroughly dusting it. This is not Pledge in a cloth. This is a little FlyLady duster. If you don't have one, go to FlyLady.com/tools and look for it. It's anywhere between $27 and $47 and $40. It's either 40 or 47. I don't remember. I think it's between 27 and 40, but go look. When it's on sale, it's around 27. When it's not on sale, it's around 40. It's the best investment you'll make in that type of tool. Mine lasts me at least 10 years. Okay, next. So that's dusting. When you're done with it, you're going to take it outside and you're going to run that tool in your hand. I don't have a stick, but if you put a stick in your hand, you know, if you do this, the end of it will do this. That's one way to clean it. Or you can hit that stick on your hand like that and the feathers will do like that. Or you could just shake it. But you want to get the feathers cleaned from the dust and then go put it away after you've done everything. So I'm digressing. The third thing we do is we clean the glass. But I'm not saying get out the Windex and the paper towels. You get one microfiber towel. You get one side of it wet, the other side's dry. Wring it out. Go in the bathroom and look for smudges and spots. Wipe it off. Go in the bedroom and see if there's any smudges or spots. Maybe you have glass doors on your closet and there's a heel mark of a hand on there. Mark that off. Get that off. Maybe you've got a glass tabletop where the cat's been walking. Wipe that off. Maybe the baby's got handprints on the sliding glass doors. Wipe that off. This should take less than 10 minutes. You're just popping through the house looking for little things to wipe. You are not doing this. You're doing this, okay? If it's leaving water, turn it over to the dry side and dry it. It's really quick. Boom, boom, you're done. All right, next is garbage cans. That means to empty the garbage can in the bathroom. Maybe you have one in the bedroom. Maybe you have one in the office. Empty those little garbage cans. Put new liners in them and put them back. That's less than 10 minutes. Put them in the garbage outside. Don't put them in the kitchen garbage. Put them in the garbage outside. Now that kitchen garbage needs to be emptied every day, but these garbage cans can wait, a week. All right. If they can't wait a week, then pick them up during the middle of the week and empty them, and then on this one day, empty them again, okay? If you have an overflow of garbage. All right, next is the floors. So you have either hard surface floors or you've got carpet. So on the hard surface floors, you can either vacuum those or you can use a dust mop on them. A dust mop is an excellent tool for cleaning hard floors, but we are not deep cleaning. We are just getting the edges on a hard surface floor, because on a hard surface floor, dust blows to the outside. So we're getting the edges, maybe run up the middle. If you have carpet, then I just want you to vacuum up the middle. I want you to get the traffic patterns in these rooms. So this does not mean that we're cleaning up after the cat or the dog. That is a whole nother commitment on a whole nother level. Maybe you have to do that 3 or 4 times a week. Maybe you have to do it every day. Maybe it's okay and your cat doesn't really shed or your dog doesn't really shed and you don't have a big issue with that, and that's fine. But we're just getting the traffic patterns. So pick 5 rooms, work for 2 minutes in each room. Then put that aside, the vacuum aside. Next, go in the kitchen, get your spray mop out, and mop the kitchen. You've got 3 minutes. Go in front of the sink, in front of the stove, in front of the dishwasher, in front of the refrigerator, maybe around the table, and down the middle. You can do that in 3 minutes. We are not scrubbing. We're just doing a quick little mop, okay? Then you're going to take that mop to the bathroom, and you're going to mop in front of the sink and around the toilet and catch the middle. Don't do the next bathroom. 2 minutes a bathroom, okay? So that's it. When you're done, take the mop head off your mop and go put it in the laundry room to dry out so you can wash it and replace it. Make sure you've got enough fluid in it for next time and cleaner. Take your vacuum cleaner, empty out the canister if it's one of those. Wrap the cord up nicely. Put it away nicely. I've already told you how to clean your feather duster. Your cloth for cleaning spots. Go hang that in the laundry room. Let it dry. You're going to wash that. And don't ever use softener on a microfiber towel because it won't dry and won't polish like it's supposed to. And what else have we done? If you're running low on garbage bags, those little cheap garbage bags for your garbage cans, your little garbage cans, put that on your list. Or maybe you're using Walmart bags. It's fine with me. Whatever your budget calls for, put that on your list or make sure you have some for next time. And so we've done... Oh, about this time you can check to see if your sheets need to go in the dryer. And later on, set a timer so you can put those sheets back on the bed. There's nothing worse than getting ready to go to bed and walking in and the bed's not made and the sheets aren't even on it. So that's happened to me more than once. Fortunately, Mr. B's a good helper. He helped me put them on. But, try to remember to do that. And a good way to do that is to set a timer. So that's, we've taken care of our sheets, we've taken care of our hard floors or our carpeted floors, we've taken care of our mopped areas, we've taken care of the dusting, we've taken care of the mirrors, and we've taken care of the garbage cans. When you're done and you sit down, if you've done that in an hour or less, you're going to be glowing a little bit, and you're going to think, wow, this looks great. This looks like I've had a housekeeper. And that is the weekly home blessing hour. On Tuesday, if you're an at-home homemaker, you take a free day. But if you're a payroll homemaker, you would have done that weekly home blessing on Saturday morning and gotten that hour out of the way. On Wednesday, for the at-home homemakers, we've got planning and desk day. That is a day where you take your time and you go through your refrigerator, your pantry, your freezer, your deep freeze, and you're looking to see, what do you have? How can you shop these areas to make meals for your family? And then you make a grocery list based on what is missing. You're missing some eggs and some half and half or whatever it is you need, yogurt, cottage cheese, whatever it is you need. And then also, when you're in that refrigerator, you're going to give it a little wipe out, and you're going to get rid of the things that have gone bad, and you're going to make a mental note that you don't need to buy that much of that thing. Or when you do buy something for a menu, you need to use it and make that menu item. Before you use like frozen vegetables, you want to use your fresh vegetables. So now you're going to make a menu based on what you have and a grocery list based on what you're missing to complete that menu. Then you're going to make a grocery list. Then you're going to look at, if you do it online, you can order them right then. If you do it online and you don't want to order from Walmart or Kroger or wherever you made the list, you'll at least know about how much money you're going to spend. Now you're going to look at your bank account and see, does that match how much money you have in there? Do you have a budget? How much is your budget for groceries? And then we're going to go right into our finances. So we go straight from food to finance. In finances, we look at our bank account. We make sure everything's right. We make sure any automatic debts coming out of our account are correct. They haven't been double debited or they haven't been missed entirely. We look for any physical bills that we need to pay that may have come in the mail in our inbox. We're handling our money. We're looking at our budget. We're making sure we have money saved for Christmas, and we're saving regularly. We've put money in our emergency fund. We've put money in our maybe you have a tax account that you're saving money for taxes. Maybe you've got a place where you're saving for birthdays and Christmas. These are all things that I have. So there's an emergency fund for if the transmission goes out. There's just a general fund in case somebody loses a job and you need 3 months of income until they get a new job, that account. And then there's the taxes. If you need to pay your own taxes, if your house is paid for and you need to put that money aside to pay your taxes. If you're in business for yourself, you need to pay taxes. That needs to be in there. Then you've got a holiday and birthday account, and then I have a travel account. So I've got lots of accounts where I put money in every single month. And if you don't have any of those, start with an emergency fund. Second thing I would say would be that household fund for 3 months of income. And it's not everything you make, it's just what you would have to pay if 3 months came around without a job. And then another one would be the Christmas and birthday. I think that's really important. Vacation would be last, I think, but it's all important. So think about starting starting a budget and really working with your budget. All right, then the next thing is your inbox. So check your inbox, because your inbox is where everything goes that comes out of the mail. If you've been decluttering paper, those little things that you're putting in there that require action are in there. So those actions are, you need to file something, or you need to pay something, or you need to put something in your planner, or you need to call somebody. So if you're an at-home homemaker and you're doing this on Sunday afternoon, you can't call the light company on Sunday, but you could put it in your planner to call in your lunch hour on Monday. So that's how you get things done, and it doesn't skip and it doesn't bird brain through your brain where it flies through and you go, oh, I need to call the light company, and then it never comes back again until it's too late. So write it down and put it in your planner. And if you can't get it in your planner, at least put it in a piece of paper in your inbox so that when you handle that once a week, you can put it in your planner. Okay, so it's food, finance inbox. And speaking of planners, it's your planner. You're going to plan out, whether you're an at-home homemaker or a payroll homemaker, the next Monday through Sunday. What are you doing every single day? That's so critical, and we talk about it all the time, but you get that planner planned, and then you follow that planner. So that happens on Wednesdays if you're an at-home homemaker, probably Sundays if you're a payroll homemaker. And then the next day, Thursday, is errand day. That's when you pick up your groceries. That's when you get any other errands that you need to run. If you're a payroll homemaker, that errand day could happen on your way home from work one day, and you have to assign that to yourself in your planner. So when you're arranging to get your groceries picked up, make sure you have enough time so that you can pick them up. If you order them on Sunday, maybe you can't get them on Monday. Maybe you have to make it Tuesday or Wednesday. The same for you at-home homemakers. If you arrange it on Wednesday, if they're saying, well, you can't get your groceries on Thursday, you have to pick them up on Friday, then you have to flip Thursday and Friday around in your basic weekly plan. It's not hard. Friday is car and purse day, so that's a super easy day. And that's where you go and pick up stuff out of your car. You make sure that there's nothing loose flying around in there. You haven't left any cups or you haven't left any fast food bags and cups, and you haven't left any sippy cups, and you haven't left any goldfish bags or crackers. All that comes out. Baby blankets, pacifiers, all that comes out, and you make an effort not to allow that to happen again. That you get those things out of the car if you bring them in, or you allow your children to bring them in. That's car. Purse is empty out your purse. Clean it out. Do you want to switch to another purse now? Great, get it. Put that one away. Get a new one out. If not, put everything back in your current purse. Make sure you know where your Kleenex are, your keys are, your glasses are, your cell phone goes, your AirPods go. Where do these things go? Put them in there. Do you need a fingernail file? Do you need some hand lotion, some sanitizer, your mask? Where are these things going in your purse? Try to put them in the same place or nearly the same place in each purse so you'll always know where it lives. Okay, so that's an easy one. For a payroll homemaker, you can do that on your lunch hour or your break even. You can do it right in your lap. You don't have to dump it out. Just go through it. And then Saturday is family fun day. So you want to make sure, if you're a payroll homemaker, that you're getting that weekly home blessing hour done in the morning. There's also zones for you, but we're not talking about that. That's another hour. So you've got 2 hours in the morning on Saturday. Get up and get after it so you can enjoy Saturday, so that you don't dread Saturday, so that you're not mad because you worked all week and now you got to clean all weekend. That is not what we're doing. We're doing 2 hours Saturday morning and you're done. And you can delegate because everybody else is home with you too. And if your spouse works and you work, there's no reason why you can't share these duties, but somebody has to be in charge, and it's you, ma'am. It's you. Okay. Then the last thing is on Sunday, and that is renew your spirit. Everybody needs to take a day to renew their spirit, to reevaluate their relationship with God, to really praise and be grateful. And that really sets you up for the next week. All right, that is the basic weekly plan. It's for payroll homemakers. It's for at-home homemakers. It's what makes everything click. And it's very, very important. So make sure you're getting these things done. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you remember always to be beautiful, because you are beautiful.